Hello, this is Josh Copple and I'll be going through workflow and navigation. I'm going to jump out of the native file viewer and talk about browsing, hit some workflow, and then we'll go into searching. We'll give you a few different ways to browse records in Relativity with what we call folders, the field tree, advanced and saved searches, and we can also browse by clusters, which is a part of the Relativity Analytics features set. I'm going to start here with case folders. These are a little bit different than what you may be used to in other applications, in that it's not a metaphor for the tagging and coding structure, but actually the physical location of the records in the system. It can be your Outlook or Windows Explorer, a metaphor that is very familiar to people. We have a few high-level folders here that we've set up, and this padlock indicates that it's securable, so I can secure these folders. I have a folder named File Servers, and it's organized by city and share. We have another one named Custodians, and we have a custodian here by the name of John Arnold. And we may have had some loose files around the desk, and for email, we actually preserved the original mailbox structure of John Arnold's Outlook or Lotus Notes, whichever he was using. So off his mailbox structure, and if he was involved in a matter pertaining to Compact, for instance, I could come in and click on Compact and see exactly what he was storing in there. This gives me a very intuitive way to browse through records. And in terms of how we set this up, Relativity can map to any piece of metadata in load file. In this case, we map to the file path information. We had the file path automatically recreated based on that. Another popular way our clients are using this is maybe this was an original paper-based collection and these documents were coded at the box level. So maybe we want to recreate the box structure. Other than that, we can always right-click and create the folder structure as we see fit. So that's case folders. I'm going to jump here to the field tree, which is actually a metaphor for the tagging and coding structure. And that way is very intuitive as well. So for instance, maybe I can see something that has been tagged as part of someone's deposition kit. And here we have Elliot's, and it looks like we've returned 5 records in his depot kit. Or maybe I would like to see what has been tagged as privileged. So when I click on the privileged folder, I see that we have 50 items tagged as privileged. So those documents are tagged in the system, and the next time I click on privileged, they're going to be instantly returned. So that's the field tree. I'm actually going to hide the browser here now to give us some additional real estate, and we'll talk about workflow and touch on reporting. So we're looking now at a little over 74,000 records in the database, which this is the Enron database. While the 74,000 documents we have here is certainly a healthy sized database, the largest case in Relativity has over 93 million records with hundreds of users in on that single database. They're tiffing, redacting, tweaking out layouts of workflows, and doing all sorts of searching. It's still a very responsive system. This drop-down controls what we call views in Relativity. Views are canned queries that control workflow and a bit of reporting in general. But 3 things specifically. Views control the columns displayed here at the top, criteria that we use to pull back the record, and our default sort order here on the left. So for instance, right now we're showing responsiveness and issues field. But if more of a first pass reviewer came through, we might just lock them down to my unreviewed documents here. The responsiveness field would be the only one that is available to them. We might even automate some workflow so that those records are coded and tagged as responsive. It would automatically flow into a second tier review. A couple of other things we can do with views is I have this one called responsive documents. And it looks like we have 125 in the system right now. I can use this drop down up here to include duplicates or family documents even if they are not responsive to the query that we set up. So for instance, if I were to include the duplicates, it looks like it now jumps to 1,426. And maybe I want to normalize these documents, so what I'm going to do is click on responsiveness here at the top, just to sort the uncoded documents to the top. I can see the records that have been tagged inconsistently or not at all. These are all exact duplicates of responsive documents. So I might want to normalize these quickly with a mass action. Maybe these are records that I want to create a mass TIFF of, which I can print locally, and we can print them with or without the redaction. Do some tallying, summing, averaging field of date, or export them. Each one of these are individually securable, so you can grant rights to one, none, all, or any combination that makes sense to the reviewers. In our case, we just want to edit these. I can come in and tag them as responsive, and then I would hit save, but in this case I'm just going to cancel out. Another question we often get is how to pull Privlog out of Relativity, which for us it's just creating another view. So we have documents that have been tagged with privilege with the fields that have agreed upon to report, and with that we can take another mass action. Let's say all 49 records are marked privileged and we're going to export them. So I'm going to export them as a file, and here it gives us a couple different options of how we can export them. We can export them as a .dat, a CSV, but in this case we're just going to export them as an Excel, and I'm going to keep them Unicode compliant. So here we have the Privlog all ready to go, and we can save and manipulate it from here. So that's views inside Relativity.